The objective of my research was to look at dysfunctional metabolism in cancer, and the reason this is important is because across all forms of cancer you have a metabolic alteration. What we don't know is what actually causes this metabolic alteration, so my research looked into different things that could cause your metabolism to change when you develop cancer, and then how we could actually use that to sort of treat cancer more effectively.
So my research pretty much sought to determine a hearing and noise advantage in adolescent musicians and see if this advantage in hearing and noise tasks, which is like sound separation and background noise, would correlate with a decrease in cognitive workload levels, so that's like stress, frustration, and difficulty focusing, and how much information your brain can take in at once. The EEG that I used hasn't been used yet in research, so I had to come up with all of my own procedures and kind of figure out how to do it, which took a lot of troubleshooting, and there was a lot of technical problems. And then also, about a month before STS, I found out that all my data wasn't recorded properly because of the script that I used was kind of messed up. So I had to kind of just start from scratch like a month before and recollect all my data. My research found that musical training decreases cognitive workload by improving hearing and noise ability. So I think that this provides really good concrete evidence for the need for musical training in early onset. For example, in elementary school, in music classes, instead of doing singing or something, actually learning an instrument can help you with school and just general life later on. So I think that could be a really big implication.
My research was basically an analysis of gene mutations on the GCH1 gene to assess whether or not they dysregulated a specific enzyme called BH4, and then determining whether or not this dysregulation impairs cognition in dementia. My research contributes to the society as it's a novel approach to understanding Alzheimer's disease and dementia in general, and undergoes a new approach into tackling the cause of Alzheimer's disease and
in the area and how you could fish there.
The objective of my research was to develop and implement new annotations in machine translation and determine their effect on facilitating language acquisition. So I implemented color coding and tooltips in a prototype of a machine translator and found that they were very effective in increasing the amount of foreign language users acquired. So I've loved language learning for as long as I can remember, and I've dabbled into many different language learning methods and found that machine translation is very easily accessible for pretty much any language I wanted. But it wasn't made for language learning, so I wanted to unlock its full pedagogical ability and create a version of machine translation that was very effective as a language learning tool. Yeah, language barriers are one of the largest factors preventing success for immigrants and refugees. So seeing, growing up in a multilingual household and seeing how people had trouble learning English, I wanted to help solve that problem and increase interlanguage communication.
Science research definitely provides more discipline than a lot of other classes. It's not so structured in the sense that you have homework and things. If you want to sort of do well at competitions, you have to independently work on these things, and then you bring them to Mr. Pick and Ms. Holmes to look at, but it's never really they give you set instructions on what to do. So I think it's really helped me hone my independence.
Just go for it. It seems daunting and a lot of work, and it is, but it's so worth it no matter what happens.
A lot of times when you're a researcher, especially in high school, you always want to impress people and say, oh, this is super complicated, this is what I did. However, if you think about it, the best fundamental researchers, those who win Nobel Prizes, are doing research at the most basic level that actually completely changes our understanding of the world. So I think rather than looking at it as sort of a rabbit hole, you should really look at it from a bird's eye view and see how does your research actually improve the people, whether now or 10 years in the future.